I don't feel like I have taken as much interest in the fruit as I would have liked in the other two sketches. Yes, I looked at the wee segments in the line, but I'd really like to look at their form and their colour a wee bit more. So if, again, you have followed along with my other social accounts, you know that I carry a little box of pastels everywhere with me, and other bits and pieces in my bag at all times with two wee sketchbooks. So I thought what I will do is a little study and show you how I would quickly do that in oil pastel, just looking at the lemon, the lime, and maybe one of the halves of the lime. But I can be a wee bit much with colour and get carried away with 1,001 of them. So I'm going to limit my palette today, and I've went for these lovely sort of ice creamy pastel tones. I have one yellow, one green, one purple, and one sort of peachy colour. Now these are lovely oil pastels. They are really, really soft. So depending on how much you're willing to pay on your art materials, it will depend on the quality. These are just lovely. These can be used like an oil paint, so you can add a wee bit of linseed oil and move them about, but they smudge really nicely. So you have lovely buttery texture. So I'm just going to use these three, and hopefully you will be able to see me making up a little picture. Now the first thing that I will do is, again, you can't see, I'm hoping this table doesn't collapse. It's not actually a table, it's just a bit of ply on top of a stool. I'm going to draw in my lemon and my lime. Now, I love to draw across my pages. That's not everybody's thing either. But I'm just going to go across them. Lime. Now I don't want to leave out the cloth that they're sitting on either. I'm going to put one of the halves over here. But you can see, just like I said in some of the painting or the drawing tutorials and my painting workshops, you're just mapping out your composition with shapes that you know, little lines just to give you a map of where you are. I'll say to do one half, I might just hint at the other there, and maybe the base of the jug, but I don't know if I'm going to bother doing the jug. Right, so I have basic shapes out. Now what I am going to consider is the lights. So I treat the oil pastels in a similar way to the rule of painting. Now with painting, depending on which type of paint, acrylic or oil, you can work dark to light, light to dark, doesn't really matter. I'm going to keep to sort of watercolor rules here and work from light to dark. So choosing this probably as my lightest color, I'm going to note in where it is that I see the light shine. Again, I am working in natural light. If you can, it is best. I also use a north light tube. Used to be used in architects' offices before the LED thing came in. But it's great. It's as close as I can get to north light. Although if anybody knows an alternative to that, let me know. I'm having to consider lighting for my studio at the minute, and I want it to be nice and bright, not yellowy in any way. Right, so I have noted in, well, I might as well do the jug as well then. Line across. There's lots of reflections because it's a metal jug. Okay, nice bit of light along here, actually a little bit along here, and across. So not really worrying about exacts, just noting in. So set that one aside. I'm going to go for my yellow. You'll see from my ink, I still haven't got it all off my thumbs. Right, the yellow. Right, now my lemon is yellow, so how am I going to create these lights and darks? Well, I've restricted my colour palette, so I'm just going to have to figure it out as I go. Now, I am going to colour in the whole shape in the yellow. Now, you could also use the black that is underneath as well to give you some of that shade. about shape, just refining it as I go. Now, the lime is green, but I only have one colour of green, so I'm going to use yellow as my lightest area there. And same in here, in these little segments. Just because they're not the exact colours doesn't mean it's not a lime. It just means it's an alternative. Now, I'm not wanting to do that whole thing, so I'm just going to leave that very undone. Now, there's a little bit of light coming in here, also in and around here. Now, with my jug. So, I think I will leave it at that. So that's the yellow done, setting that aside. I'm going to go for my green. And this green is very close in colour to the yellow. I am going to use the black in the lime to leave a little bit of dark. Get it round. Just again, refining that shape from where I first started. Now I need some shadow in my lemon. So I don't have a darker yellow, I don't have an orange, so I'm just going to have to problem solve here. And add in darks. Now over here into my line. And around, I'm going to take a little bit. Now there's no sharp edge, you could sharpen off here if you wanted a really sharp edge. I don't. Bring it down there. My jug. I'm not wanting to make a big deal of it, I just want us to know it is there. And then finally my purple. So this is just a wee quick sketch. Noting down quickly what I see. Now there's shadow here and round. What I'll do is I'm going to pull that out. So I'm using the black. Now, round, adding a wee bit of the dimply texture. Same here, just adding little bits. I only have the 4 colours, so I just have to make do. It's good sometimes to restrict, just challenges you a wee bit on how you work with colour, to still allow the viewer know what it is you're doing and understand the language that you're using. Now this fabric, now I'm going to do the same thing as I did there before. I'm going to start to smudge. And here, light bits right here. Such an easy thing to take with you, and I found when I first started, I live in Ballymoney on the north coast of Northern Ireland, and when I first started to pull out my art stuff in a coffee shop or a restaurant when you were waiting for your food to come, there were some peculiar looks. I wasn't sure if people were just interested in what you were doing, and I just thought you're a bit of a bin lid, but actually I've started to see more people out drawn, even down at the hot spots here, the Giant's Causeway, the Mussenden Temple. It's lovely to see people with cameras, like actual cameras, not just your phone, and sketch pads out, just noting down what your eye sees. It's a lovely way to note a holiday or a trip rather than just having that mobile phone that we all have stuck to us all the time, out filled with images that we never print or never actually look at. But if you have a wee sketch pad these scribbles in it. You have the memory of where you are, of how you felt when you were doing it. Maybe the conversations that you had, just an alternative way of noting what you see. Now you can see as I smudge, just softens everything down, because this is a soft, as I said before in one of the other videos, it is linen. It's a lovely material. So when we soften it down, drag it out, it just lets us understand better how it's creased and it's folded. Now, and that jug in the background, I'm wanting to make less of it, so I'm wanting it to be much more subtle. So I'll blend it in too. And the more you layer on, the heavier it gets. Now there's a technique in painting called impasto, and it is generally layering on thick layers of paint, and I suppose this is very similar in that you're layering on thick layers of oil pastel that you're able to see texture and create texture with. I should probably have soft, soothing music playing whilst I'm doing this, but not that organised. And if you do follow along with me any other way, you know that I'm pretty inconsistent with social too, so being organised enough to have music would be perhaps a step too far for me. And what you could do at this stage is, if you have, that's definitely not white, that's black. If you have a white, you could add just your highlight in. And soften it out and down a wee bit, just with your finger. So, working only with the four colours, you still have the ability to note down what is in front of you. And maybe the colours aren't, you know, I am finding it very hard not to reach for a blue. But you only have this, so you have to really work and struggle with it. But you're still able to give a sense of what is in front of you. A lemon and a lime. That last wee video, I thought afterwards, you know what else I could have done? I could have scored into that with a cocktail stick. Without adding another colour, I might be able to add a little more depth, because that's important. We're wanting light and dark to work right across different tones of shades, so that we're turning something, we're elevating it from, oh, dropped my cocktail stick, from 2D to 3D. So what you could do in some of your darker areas, or your areas that you don't have enough definition, is just to scratch back to the black. Now, just adding a little more. Again, doing as you were doing before. You're working with it like your cocktail stick, like it is a drawing tool. See? Then your texture. There are the little dimples. There's probably a much better way I could do this, but I mean, I'm going with it now. Just your texture. Look at how Those little scratches are just adding a wee bit more. We're not adding another colour, but we are just scratching back and using the ground colour underneath. Simple study, but what it is, it's just helping you. It's just educating you on, if you have less, how do I still get across the same message? How can I push the boundaries of simple things to still give you a feel of what I'm wanting you to get from the subject that is in front of me? Really simple, really quick, and lovely to just restrict yourself sometimes, because if you have so many colours, I look at my palette and I love colours, vibrant colours, like, and every colour everywhere. Sometimes you get a wee bit lost in it and everything starts to look like a kaleidoscope. Whereas if you are just paring that back, it just gives you that wee bit extra to work with, that you can push the boundaries of the simple tones and colours to still give you lights and darks, highlights and shade. Get yourself a sketchbook. Everybody needs to do this. I don't care if you haven't done art from GCSE or third year at school. This is lovely. See, when you're sitting sketching, you're not thinking about anything else. Get at it.